What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we are ranking Iron Man's hero cards. If you didn't see my Digging Deep video where I took him through all four aspects, please check it out to see how we played him for each aspect, I guess. Alright, so we're going to start. We're going to go through all, I guess not technically 15 because some are copies, but we're also including his hero side and alter ego side. We're going to start with this hero side. Hero side is number 4. If you notice, I also changed up my ranking from 0 to 4. Each card gets that many points. And then overall, there's some math I do, and then it comes up with a number out of 10. Now, my overall thinking of Iron Man before we get into this card was I had a lot of fun with him. I had a lot of fun. My games were a little longer than normal, but just once I had everything out, it was just super fun. Super fun. All right. Getting into his hero card. I put him up as a 4. Put him up as a 4. I know it's because of that extra hand size. I mean, it takes a while to get there, but once you do, especially with some extra cards like Bender's Mansion, it's like 8 cards in your hand. You can do whatever the heck you want, basically. His 2-1-1 isn't that great, but with his tech upgrades that you could get, it kind of doesn't matter due to like his event cards and all that jazz. But I think the name of the game for Marvel Champs is the more cards you have, the better you can do. So I think getting a hand size of 7 is super good. Super good. That is why it's up to 4. His hit points is 9, which is all right, especially with the cards that you can use to get that bigger. But yeah. Moving on to his alter ego, which I put as a 3. Now, it's a 3 because his recovery is 3 because it matches, that's why. His ability, though, is pretty dang good. Futuristic action. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and discard the others. So basically, you're getting an extra card into your hand already. And it could be a tech, or it could be a double resource. Either way. Especially if you get both in your hand, take the resource and then use Stark Tower to get that upgrade back in your hand. Like, his hero deck is, I think, pretty well, what's the word? Thought out, built. But yeah, this is down to a 3 because the recovery is 3. Like, I would say you could push to a 4 because his health is so low and his other 3 is so low as well. But then when you start adding on his upgrades, it kind of starts making more sense on why it's a 3. But I ranked it as a 3 this go around. Moving on to War Machine. War Machine I put as a 0, mainly because I didn't play him once during my 4 games. Now, he's a 4-1-2-4. And he's great health, so he's good for blocking if need be. 4 cost is a little steep, I think. 2 attack is decent. His action, exhaust War Machine and deal 2 damage to him. Deal 1 damage to each enemy. Now, this would be good if you had a lot of enemies. This would be a good card against Ultron. Now, but I obviously didn't play Ultron, so it didn't do that. So I don't think 2 damage to himself. Like I said, it all depends on how many allies you got there and how tough those allies and minions are and how tough they are. Dealing 2 damage to himself. Perhaps if you had some upgrades on him, that may push him to be better. Possibly. I could have leaned into that role with a leadership deck, but I didn't think of that. Maybe next time I could try something like that. Yeah, so yeah, sadly, this year, this Digging Deep, he received a 0 from me. It is the way it is. Moving on to Repulsor Blast. There's 3 cards of this, and I put it in the 2 spot. Repulsor Blast is a 1 cost event, so it's pretty good. Hero action, attack, deal 1 damage to an enemy, and discard the top 5 cards of your deck. For each printed energy resource, discard this way, deal 2 additional damage to that enemy. Now this card, I like it. It came in clutch multiple of times, but I feel like you really need to build the overall deck with energy cards if you really want to make use of this card very well. Because you can get up to what if you had a really good pull, you could get up to what 1, 2, 11, possibly more if you had the double energy there. But what are the chances on there? And it's printed energy resource, so you cannot use a wild resource. So I mean, so sometimes there's time I only did 1 damage, and there's time I did 3, but then there's also times I did 8. So it's a big hit or miss. That's why I gave it a 2, because you really have to build around it if you want to make it better. Moving on to Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts, as I put, is a 3. Oh, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong order. I skipped Supersonic Punch. Okay. Supersonic Punch was a 4. It's a 2 event cost, so not that bad. Hero action, attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy. 8 damage instead if you have the aerial trait. This is a very good card. There's only 2 of them. Now, usually I would try and make sure I had the boots. The rocket boots. That way I could exhaust it and get the aerial trait for 8 straight damage. Usually Supersonic Punch was the way I finished off a stage of the villain in almost each game, or finished off the game I was playing that way. This is one that I would constantly like hold in my hand for the next round just to use it. So yeah, that's why this one's a 4. Now it's Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts is a 3. She's a 3 support, so not horrible. Not horrible payment. Now if you use the player side scheme to get her, that's even better. Now resource, exhaust Pepper Potts. Generate the resources, key there, plural, resources of the top card in your discard pile. So if you strategically place an energy, genius, or strength on the top, you get two extra resources by exhausting Pepper Potts. That is why she's a 3, because that is, as long as it's played right, that is very good. You got 2 extra resources easily right there. Moving on, let's not skip. Stark Tower. Stark Tower is a 2. Now Stark Tower is very good. It's 2 support costs, pretty cheap. Alter Ego action. Exhaust Stark Tower, choose a player. That player returns the topmost tech upgrade in their discard pile to their hand. Now, this is a 2 because in the late game this card is pretty useless, but at the beginning it can be very helpful, especially if you're having to use upgrades to pay for other upgrades. And also if you need that upgrade to pay for a better upgrade. But like I said, at the end of the game, you don't use it that much at all anymore, because you should have most of your techs out there. Moving on to Arc Reactor. Arc Reactor I put as a 3. Now, I put it as a okay, it's a 2 upgrade. Cheap. Hero action, exhaust Arc Reactor, ready Iron Man. That is the key. You are readying Iron Man. So you can defend, ready him, go back up. You can use, because you have so much attack options and events, that you can use Iron Man's thwart twice by readying him to remove whatever threat that build up over time. Like, this was really good. Like, I think I played almost all my games where I didn't flip to hero side on my first turn. I let the villain scheme. And I think some of those games I had Arc Reactor ready to put out. That way when I flip back to hero form, I could thwart most of that scheming away. I didn't have very many cards, but I think it was worth it. So that's a 3. Next up, Mark 5 Armor is a 3 as well. Now, this is where I think most of Iron Man and Tony Stark's basic abilities are low, is because you get +6 hit points. That's a big chunk. That puts from 9 to 15. So if you can get this one out there really quickly as well, that is awesome. You can take damage without having to defend for a while, depending on who you're fighting. So yeah, that is why it's a 3. Moving on to the helmet, which I put as a 1. I put it as a 1 because I didn't need to thwart that much. And for each guide scheme, instead, if you have the aerial trait. Now, I didn't have a lot of multiple side schemes out there. So this wasn't very useful. I would only use it if, I mean, it would be my last thing on my mind. I would see it and I'd be like, oh, I could do that too. Just reduce it by 1. I wasn't focusing on, I was like, hey, I should use this. But it is a 1 cost upgrade to put out there to get your hand size back up. But I would use it to pay for other upgrades. Moving on to Power Gauntlets, which I put as a 1 as well. I put it as a 1 because it only deals 1 damage, and with the aerial trait it only deals 2 damage. There are 2 of them, so you could do 4 damage altogether, which is pretty good. But I think in some of my games I only used 1 of them. Like I only got 1 to the table, I think. So I think, yeah, I only put it as 1 because with so many other event cards he has that deals so much more damage than just the 1 or the 2. This one wasn't on my priority to use that often, I guess. I would use it when I could or when I can. My main focus was playing those events and other upgrades. It was very good for taking off tough though. Taking off tough was very good. And then Rocket Power Boots went to 3. Now, Rocket Power Boots, 1 upgrade cost. You get +1 hit point, and there's 2 of these, so you get 2 hit points as well. So you can have Iron Man up to 17 health. Hero action, exhaust Rocket Boots and spend a mental resource. Gain the aerial trait until the end of the phase. Aerial trait is the key word for Iron Man's hero pack. If you have aerial trait, all your other cards are going to get massive boost. Or a boost in general. Especially Supersonic Punch. This is something you want to get to the table as fast as you can. That way you can do that damage when needed. Like there are 2 of these, so you could technically use 1 as a resource and continue to use it as a resource, unless you really need that hand size. Other than that, that's all I can say about the Rocket Boots. Move over back here. So I had a lot of fun with Iron Man. It was just some of the best times. I don't know if it was because of Get Up in Games scenario with Venom. It could have been. I don't know. He's pretty good. He knows his stuff. But that could have been too. We'll find out with my next Digging Deep. We're going to try that too. But like I had a lot of fun. And the way my system works out, I look at each card individually, and I sometimes comment and connect it with other cards in the deck, but I'm more focused on that 1 card. Because like, for instance, Power Gauntlets and Mark V Helmet. So that is sadly why Iron Man's hero pack got a 6 out of 10. The crazy thing is, when I was doing this, or when I was playing him, I was like, oh, this deck is, this hero pack is going to be way more than Venom, way more than Black Panther. I guess possibly might reach the 8. And then once I got done ranking each card individually, did my math, I got 6 out of 10. He matched with She-Hulk, who I also enjoyed playing. So it's pretty interesting when you go into single cards like this and really think about it. And think of how each one works by itself. But I mean, most cards by themselves don't work that well. So either way, 6 out of 10. That's my ranking for this. Next year, it may be higher. Could be lower. Who knows? Please let me know in the comments, what you think each card is, or just your overall out of 10 for Iron Man's hero pack. Or what aspect you like playing him in. Like, I think the protection one, that may have been my worst aspect I was playing him in. Maybe I didn't play that one right. I haven't figured out how to play protection right yet. Or I just don't have the cards to play it right. But either way, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you want to know when I post more videos or go live, in the details below, there are links to my Facebook, Discord, and Twitch. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a good evening. Deuces.